All right. So, without further ado, let me welcome you to Jordan Uber. He's our head coach at Kira Health Coaching, and he's actually helped quite a lot of people to help them with mindful spending. So, we're looking forward to what he has to share with us tonight. Welcome, Jordan. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sunal, for that lovely introduction. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Claire, Leonie, and Jean-Marie. Leonie, I recognize you from the coaching. It's also good to have you here. I'm glad you can see another version of the course. All right, so ladies, tonight we are going to speak about mindful spending. All right, we want to break that cycle of surviving month to month, eventually giving you a nice net positive cash flow that can obviously open up a lot of opportunities in life or just make life a little bit easier to get through. All right, couple of things about mindful spending. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see a little presentation that I've prepared. Here we go. Oopsie, sorry. Let me just, it's at the end of the presentation. Let's quickly go to the beginning. All righty. And off we go. Right. So if everyone can just please raise the hand up or something and see, so I can see that you can see the sharing screen. You can see the presentation and everything. Fantastic. 2, 3 hands. Great stuff. Thank you very much. All right. Mindful spending. What does it entail and why is it useful? To explain briefly, mindful spending is just being aware of your finances, where the money is going, how or where it's coming in, and is your money working for you? 3 very important factors there that people often overlook. Mindful spending will give you the ability to make 100 Rand feel like 1,000 Rand because it is spent more effectively. And this, ladies, is how we are going to break that cycle of living month to month. So in mindful spending, there are 3 very important key points. It means being aware of where your money is going, identifying the areas of overspending, and making necessary adjustments to take control of your finances. 3 very, very, very important parts that encompass what mindful spending is about. So often when people start talking about anything in finances like budgets or new ways to save money and spend money, the commonality between all these things is, oh boy, are we going to have to stop spending money on things that we want to spend? Is it deprivation at all costs? And the answer to that is no. What is the point of implementing a financial plan if it doesn't make your life better? So like I said in the beginning, this course is aimed to make your money more efficient in the long run. And in that efficiency, you can create a lot more opportunity to make more money. Because, as they say, you need money to make money. Well, here's one of the ways that you do it. But also, it helps keep your work, life, and pleasure balance in your life in balance. All right. It's not about now, you can't eat out anymore and you can't go on holidays anymore or anything like that. All those things are included in the plan so that obviously you make your money work for you. All right. So in making your spending more efficient and being mindful of your finances, there is a very, very important concept that we need to understand. This concept is distinguishing between needs and wants. All right, this forms the base of your plan and your mindfulness towards your spending. So the difference between needs and wants is needs are things that you absolutely require to sustain your lifestyle and to sustain the basic needs of your lifestyle, and to sustain your work, the thing that is responsible for your income month to month. All right, but now needs is a whole nother thing on its own, and it's often not stuff that we usually realize. So needs include things like housing, very important. You need a roof over your head to protect you from the weather, to make you feel safe, and also to make a home. A home is very important. It's a place where we can sort of de-stress. It's our safe place that we have in the world, because the world is a very difficult thing to navigate. You need a place that you call home where you feel safe and we can sort of mitigate your stress levels and basically recharge. A house is very important. Then we've got to look at things like utilities, water, electricity, an absolute must. And a third one that is often overlooked is internet. Okay, internet is considered a need nowadays because so many things that people rely on, especially when it comes to income, is usually from internet. Okay, even if you have a business, for instance, you work in a business like a plumbing company or an electrician company where you actually go and see people, you still need internet to advertise your business and create further revenue and pull more customers in. Or you need the internet for customer reviews or emails or things like that. So internet is a very, very important part in your utilities, and it is certainly considered a need more than a want. Now, having the fastest fiber that South Africa can provide, that is not a need. That is a want. Your need when internet comes to the basic amount that you need to get the job done. All right. Other important things on the needs is food. Obviously, you need to fuel your body correctly. And this also comes down to high quality foods. Okay. If you look later in the list there, you can see healthcare is part of the needs as well. So I'm going to mix these two and speak about them in one topic, and health in general, things that are considered under health. All right. So food is very important, but highly nutritious food. Don't talk about, you can afford or you're going to cut back on food now, on the costs on your food. So you're just going to buy potatoes and spend more money on internet, let's say. No, having a balanced diet is very important for your health. And it's an old classic saying, health equals wealth. You need to spend money on you and make sure you are performing as best as you can, because you are going to be the one who's going to bring income in and going to bring money into the household. So you need to perform at your best. You need to be at a high point in the level of health so that you can work efficiently and plan for the future better, because your brain's operating better, and then ultimately bring that income in. Okay, so food, healthcare, very important stuff to shift your needs to. Transport, very important, whether it's public or private. It's involved in your income. You need to budget for that and make sure that's under your needs list. And then, of course, childcare. Now, that covers the section of needs. Now, if we head over to the wants, you'll see that there's a little bit of overlay here because, for instance, like I mentioned before, needs are things that you absolutely need in order to survive, and wants are things that are a little bit extra. All right, so things that are not essential, like vacations, new furniture. Now, I know earlier I spoke, listen, house. Your house needs to be a home. It needs to be homey and comfortable. Okay? So there's a balance over here between furniture. Obviously, you need furniture to stock up your house. It needs to be comfortable that you could sit on, but it doesn't have to be made of Egyptian silk and come from the wool, or the cushioning comes from the sheep of some mountain in Japan. Okay? Doesn't have to be like that. It needs to fit the criteria. All right. So having the super fancy furniture is a want, but having furniture that serves the right purpose in your house is a need. So this is a very important thing when it comes to weighing up your needs and your wants. Okay. The same thing can be said about beauty treatments. I'm a firm believer that if you feel pretty, or if you look pretty, you're going to feel pretty. Right? If you look good, you're going to feel good. So there is a level of a basic need when it comes to beauty treatments. You want to look after your skin, you want to look after your hair, you want to look after your teeth, and you want to look after your nails and things like that. So you need to buy soaps, you need to buy sun lotion for people with fairer skin. You need to be wearing sunblock each day to prevent your skin from getting all old and wrinkly when you're older. You need to buy toothpaste. If you're not, I really suggest it. Toothpaste goes a long way. It's very helpful. All right. You need to buy things to clean your nails and make sure you maintain a decent level of hygiene. Now, that hygiene falls under beauty treatments in a sort of way. So those are all needs, but wants is when those hygiene requirements start going into things like very special lotions that have glitter in them and make you smell like peaches. Okay, that's when we start heading into the wants category. So other ones can include things like hobbies. Eating out is a sneaky one that creeps up on you. Entertainment, clothing, and electronics. Okay, when it comes to electronics, an example here is everyone needs a cell phone these days, right? There's very few people that don't need a cell phone. Okay, 99% of the people need a cell phone, but you do not need the latest iPhone 15, 12,000X with this 100 megapixel camera, and it can tell the future. Okay, we don't need that. What you need is a cell phone that has basic smartphone capabilities, so connected to the internet, has Wi-Fi, decent processing units, so on and so forth. It has a camera, and it can call, and it can text, and it can run the basic apps that you need to run the work and your social life. Okay, so that is, again, where in electronics, you actually have the needs and the wants in electronics. So some things, there's a scale. They're the same thing. So a cell phone isn't both a need and a want, and it's the type of cell phone that dictates which one it is. All right, so when weighing up your needs and wants, it's very important to understand the dynamic of it and to be very realistic with yourself in choosing what is a need, what is a want. All right, I just want to double check here. I think I'm getting some messages from you guys. Am I? No. Sorry, false alarm. Everyone, let us continue. Please, if there's anyone who has any questions, please feel free to put a question down in the Q&A or raise your hand up or anything like that, and I will be glad to assist you. You can stop me at any time, and I can help you out. All right, so let's move on. When it comes to the needs and wants, quite often when we spend too much money on our wants is usually through emotional buying. And this emotional buying is caused by triggers, right? Emotional triggers. And these emotional triggers lead to reckless spending, which lead to us spending more money than we budgeted for on our wants, which then puts our needs in a sticky situation, which then adds stress and makes that living month to month more prevalent and makes it trickier to break the cycle. Okay, sounding familiar maybe? Maybe some of these things have occurred. This is usually the cycle that we want to break. All right. So what are triggers and what are their situations? Okay, so a couple of examples. So one is shopping at the end of the day because you've had a bad day. All right. So, yesterday was Monday. And let's say you didn't get that much sleep on Sunday, you already woke up tired, and you got to do all this work and catch up on all this admin, and you're behind, and everyone's shouting at you, and then you burst your tire, and then a bird pooed on your head, and all this stuff happened, and you just had a miserable day. That is not a reason for you to spend money at night on shopping. Okay, I hate to break it to you, but that's not how this works. There are other stress relieving methods that are much healthier for you in the long run and in the short term as well. But shopping for things that you do not need is not going to solve your problems. Okay. Other things is eating out when bored. Eating out is, like I said, it's a slow expense that builds up without you even realizing it, because it is much more expensive to eat out than it is to eat at home or with a home cooked meal or things like that. And when you start doing it on a regular basis, it's not a massive amount that gets taken out initially, so you notice it and you sort of become alert of it. It's a small extra amount that happens frequently, so you don't really pick up on a massive amount of money getting taken out of your account. You only pick up on it at the end of the month when it's too late. So this little bit of extra money or these extra costs build up. It's the small things that build up. And then when you're checking it out at the end of the month, you're like, oh, geez, all right, I'm now behind my budget and I can't buy soap. All right. So, or something like that. And then you're going to go to work stinky, and no one likes that. So these are the small things that creep up on you where you need to be ahead of it. And this is what being mindful of your finances is about. All right. The third one here is fear of missing out due to marketing ploys. Ladies, marketing is not there for your best interests. Marketing is there to trick you or to make you believe that you need their things when you don't actually need it. That's what a good marketing agency does. If a marketing agency gets you to buy something that you don't need, they've done their job. Okay. That's what the whole goal of marketing is, just to drive sales, no matter what. You as the consumer need to be conscious and mindful enough of what you need and what you don't need, so you do not fall victim to their marketing ploys. It is your responsibility and no one else's. And then the last point over here is wanting items because friends and colleagues have them. So the classic peer pressure situation, right? Look, we humans are social animals, and I get it. We all want things that other people have, but you are not living their lives and they are not living your lives. Your needs and wants are different, no matter how similar you guys may be. So please understand that your needs and wants are unique to your own, and don't look at other people as an example too often. Don't look at other people as an example of what you should buy, especially when it comes to wants. All right, because that is completely different. You need to make your finances work for you, not the other way around. Okay. So we're having a look at what's coming next over here is these triggers are inevitably emotional decisions, just like every other decision that you make. All right. Here it says most purchasing decisions are made subconsciously, and that couldn't be further, well, couldn't be closer to the truth. Sorry. We make these decisions subconsciously, and again, that's a big marketing ploy. That's when they put up adverts on the billboards and put adverts up on the lampposts on a certain route to your work. You're driving past it each day, and it's in the background the whole time. And during this time, your subconscious mind is busy making the decision to buy this product. So let's say they're advertising dog paw scrubs. All right, so clean your dog paws for your dog, not for you, obviously, because I'm taking you don't have any paws, but for your dogs. And now it's summertime and it rains all the time and there's mud everywhere and your dog's constantly dirty with these muddy paws. First thing you're going to think of is that ad that you drive past every single day, right? That is the process of what happens when your subconscious starts making these decisions, and then you, and then the decision is already made. Then what happens is your conscious mind rationalizes these decisions. So you think of buying that paw scrubber before ever contemplating what else you could use or what else you could buy. All right, you just go straight to there and be like, oh, yeah. In the ad, they said that it cleans a paw in 5 seconds. That must be the best one, and I must go and do it. Meanwhile, every single paw scrubber cleans it in 5 seconds, for argument's sake. Right? That's what happens when a subconscious decision gets rationalized by your conscious brain, and the whole thing is an emotional, or I don't even like to use the word emotional. I like to use, because every decision is emotional. It's an irrational decision, not one made by rationality. Okay. So this emotional buying, or let's call it irrational buying, are things that can be driven by achievement or sadness or jealousy, or guilt or fear or false economy offers. So when they say that, like, oh, this stuff's in short supply, you better get it while you can, they could be lying to you. There's nothing there that has to force them to tell the truth. Special offers, cashless spending, that is also a sneaky one. If you just keep tapping your card, ring, 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 well, actually moving money across it, that adds up without you realizing it. You have a look at the end of the month and you're like, gee whiz, there goes the money that I was going to spend on the dog paw scrubber. All right. So stockpiling food, that's another thing. If you stockpile for 6 months, okay, you're not using that stuff now. You're only going to use it now in 6 months' time. So that money that you spent on it is tied up 6 months later, where you could have used it currently to solve your current situation, pay off your debt currently, which lowers the interest that you pay on that debt. But now, if you tie your money up in all your food or other things that you're only going to use 6 months later, that money you could have spent in the current months, and you can't use it anymore now. So you're just going to end up paying more interest on your loan repayments, right? So buying things in massive months in advance or stockpiling things in a lot of months in advance is not necessary. Ladies, the NHI is very scary, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Okay, we don't have to stockpile on food and toilet paper and dog paw scrubbers. Okay, we're going to have more than enough to come. The world's not going to end, so you don't need to stockpile like crazy. We can go to the shops each month and buy what we need for that month or that week. All right. And another emotional buying is needless subscriptions. These things also build up over time. It is a brilliant financial tool used by many companies where their subscriptions are not a lot, right? It's a small amount of money, which is, let's say it's basically unnoticeable at your bank account, but you are not using that money. You're not using the subscription, so therefore that money is wasted. And sure, let's say it's like 50 Rand. Okay, sure, you might not notice 50 Rand. But when you've got a couple of subscriptions like this, when you've got 5, 6, 7, or 8 subscriptions like this, all of a sudden 400 Rand making a much bigger difference than just 50 Rand. So you want to stay on top of those subscriptions and make sure that the subscriptions that you are using is working for you and you are actually using it. Very, very important. Any questions at the moment? Everyone's still on track. Everyone's still sharp and alert. We are almost there. We've got a couple of slides left. We're going to get into budgeting soon. I know you guys are keen for that. Right? Everyone's still fine? Fantastic. Cool. Got the thumbs up there. Righto. So, how do we counter this emotional buying or this irrational buying? All right. The first step is purpose. You need to shop with purpose. That means that you spend your money on things that work for you. Okay. Don't spend your money on short-lived pleasures or things like that, or spend your money on things that you don't necessarily need. So for instance, for a child, children look for, or they want toys that they're going to play with for a week and never play again. So essentially, you pay that amount of money for 1 week. Okay. You do that for your kids, but you shouldn't do that for yourself because you are no longer a child. However, everyone has those childish tendencies. Look, me sitting on this side of the laptop explaining all of this is like the pot calling the kettle black. I make these mistakes as well. I have these tendencies as well. I'm not completely rational. I'm irrational many times, but it's not about being perfect. It's about trying your hardest. It's about learning new things like you're doing now, practicing them and applying them and getting better with them with time. Right. This is the path to developing the skill of any skill, actually, but in particular case, mindful spending. Right. So you want to have a purpose for your money. You want to make sure that every single cent and every Rand that you spend is going towards something to make your life better. Whether it's a goal, whether it's alleviating stress, whether it's making someone else's life better that indirectly affects you, anything of the sort, every Rand and cent needs to have a purpose. Okay. Second thing is a budget. Budget basically just means having a plan for your finances. Okay, I'm going to spend my money on this and this and this and this month. No matter what happens, I'm going to spend it on this stuff. If you have a budget planned out, you are less likely to fall victim to all of the emotional buying that I just spoke about earlier, right? So if you have a plan on buying X amount of cans of tuna and you see it's on special, you don't need to buy more cans of tuna. You just need to buy the amount that you were budgeting for. And then, because it's on special now in this month, you actually save a couple of bucks, which you can use elsewhere in your budget. And I'll explain that now when we get to the budget part. But you need to have a plan to counter emotional buying. Okay, a plan that you make in a rational mindset. Don't make decisions in an irrational mindset. For instance, like I say, never make a promise when you're happy. Okay, and never act when you're angry. Same thing, never buy stuff when you're ecstatic. Okay, because you're going to buy the wrong things. Plan it when you're level-headed and stick to the plan. Third point here is disrupt the patterns. Track your spending. Link it to emotional states and identify the patterns triggering the emotional spending. Develop strategies to curb these patterns. So one way to disrupt these patterns is find out what your triggers are. Okay, if your trigger is when the moon is a certain shape Okay, don't buy stuff when it's a full moon. Hold out. Okay. If your trigger is a certain advert, know that that advert's triggering you. So when you see the ad again, you can be like, okay, breathe. That burger doesn't look that delicious after all. Okay, I've had it, it's not that great. I'd rather spend my money on better quality soap or whatever. Okay. Find out what these patterns are by identifying these triggers and break that pattern. Again, this is a huge amount of responsibility that you need to take. This is all reliant on you. No one's going to come here and slap that burger out of your hand. Okay. You are buying it. You are making the choice. And it is your choice to break that cycle. Okay. So purpose, budget, disrupt those patterns. Then another thing is there are some very important questions to ask before we make a purchase. And these are great ways to disrupt the pattern. Not only is asking these questions very rational, but what it also does, it gives you time to think. So usually when people act on irrational behavior, it's very quick. You know, the thought pops in and they act on it. But if you give yourself just a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes between thoughts and action, you will find rationality in there. There's a beautiful quote. I can't remember who it's from now, but it says, between action and stimulus lies your freedom. All right. So at the end of the day, it is your choice to act upon a thought or act upon any kind of stimulation. Okay. Wait a little bit before you buy something and ask yourself these 12 questions. Okay. First one, what's the worst that can happen if I don't have this? All right. Very important. And more often than not, you're going to find out, well, life just carries on and you don't actually really need it. That leads to the second one. Do I really need this? That's a straight yes or no. Number 3, why do I want to buy this? Why am I feeling these feelings to buy this stuff? This is part of disrupting the pattern. This is part of identifying the triggers. Okay. Number 4 and 5. Number 4, do I need to consult my partner? And will my partner agree? I think this, just by asking these 2 questions, this will create a great amount of accountability to your finances and can make a huge difference, not only just to your personal life, but your relationship with your partner as well. Because there's one thing that's, very difficult on a relationship, it's financial stress, and reckless spending just makes it even worse. All right, so be sure to ask yourself that. Number 6, would a third-party advisor's purchase? So would your health coach advise you to buy or spend all that money on that gross, greasy food? Probably not. Okay. Number 7, will it still be available later? More often than not, yes, it will be. Okay, patience is a virtue. Number 8, are there alternatives? And this ties in with number 9, have I reviewed all my options? And this actually ties with number 10 as well. Did I do my research? All 3 of these are great ways to change that trigger of like specials or limited offer or things like that. Have a look at that pore scrubber that they were advertising and see, well, there's other ones. Hey, the other ones actually are more or less the same price and they seem more durable and so on and so forth. All right. That ad just happened to catch you there at that time doesn't mean that that's the best product out there. Okay. Number 11, will this benefit me in the future? This comes to purpose. This comes down to purpose. Will this thing that I'm going to spend my money on make my life any better? Number 12, which is similar to 8, 9, and 10, is this the best deal? Again, do that research, have a look. Don't be fooled by Black Fridays and things like that. Double check to see if that is actually the best deal. All of these things take time. All of these things give you time to think about the decision, and this is what rationality is. All right. Now, let's head over to the last page, well, second last page technically, but the last section, and that's budgeting. I'm going to run through some, I know I've gone over time a little bit, but I'll be sure to go through this quickly and thoroughly, leave you with a little bit of homework that you can actually start with. All right, so this budgeting formula comes from Forbes, and it's the most common one used, and it has lots of success. Okay, 50% gets spent on your needs, 30% gets spent on your wants, 20% gets spent on your debt repayments or investments. Okay, so let's tackle needs and wants. That's going to be done right in the beginning. Right, that's the first thing that you ladies are going to do when you're done here, is you're going to sit down and you're going to start drawing your list, needs and wants. Okay, you're going to start the list initially, then you're going to start moving things around or changing the versions of certain things. All right, like for instance, that phone. Okay, no. We don't need the iPhone 25 anymore. We can just use a Huawei P30 or whatever. Okay, much cheaper, much more affordable. And then you can, with that money that you save on the phone, you can now start actually perhaps spending it on other ones that you really need. Maybe you don't really need, or you don't really want a fancy phone. So downgrade on the phone and spend money on stuff that you really want. Okay, that's the whole idea here, is to funnel and channel your money into things that really make a difference in your life, giving it a high purpose. All right, that's the needs and wants. 50% in needs, 30% in wants. And then this 20% is very important. This 20% never be overlooked. Okay, debt repayments and investments. You need to first have a look at the interest rates of the both. Okay, if your loan repayments, your debt repayments interest rates are higher than your investment interest rates, it would make a lot more sense that you finish paying off your debt first. And then, now, don't make the mistake that everyone else does, is when you've paid off that debt, don't now take that money and put it into wants. You need to keep that money there and now start investing. Okay, making your money work for you while you sleep. This is the point that this whole mindful spending needs to get you to. Okay, because once you start entering this point, once you are debt free and you are start investing, first of all, you're part of the top 5% of the population. Okay, huge thing. And also that is when your wealth then starts to multiply. Okay, because when you're at that point, that means you've got your needs and your wants sorted, and it's actually been working for very long, and you've been able to pay off that debt, and now your wealth starts to multiply in the investment. All right, because the more you add in earlier on, the higher it's going to grow because of the compounding interest. Okay, so very, very important stuff there is that debt repayment and the investments in particular. Okay, so this is the framework on how to handle your how to handle your mind and how to handle your financial spending. So I'm going to just end off here with a couple of practical tips so you can get started. Okay, like I said, adapt your mindset and align your spending with your goals and what fulfills you. Okay, if you are spending money on stuff that doesn't add a lot of value to your life, you are wasting it. Okay, create that budget. You need to track where your money is going, everywhere, where it's coming from and where it's going. And then prioritize your spending. Focus on what's important now. Consider spending on last experiences and ensure your spending adds value to your life. Okay, don't stockpile unnecessarily. Don't tie your money up unnecessarily. Prioritize your spending on what you need currently to get to the next stage. All right, ladies, that is our mindful spending seminar. Thank you very much for joining. You could please have a look at kirahealth.coza. There, we've got our coaching platform up there. You're eligible for, I think it's a month of free coaching. Leonie, you're already on there. So hit me up on the coaching app. Okay, let me know what you think about this. And let's restart this financial course and let's get you going. Let's get you going, making that needs and wants list. And let's get you going, making that budget. And let's get you going, making that difference. Okay, ladies, thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday evening. I hope you learned something.